the name of our podcast. Hi, welcome to Romance Writers Therapy.
Woo!
See, I did it. Okay, to this week, we're going to be talking about our processes.
Yeah.
Because we had such a fun time interrupting Amanda B. Wilson when she was talking about her process.
A.B. Wilson?
A.B.
Yes.
Wilson.
Who goes by Amanda.
I'm sorry I keep saying Amanda.
I mean, that is her
just
name. She goes by Amanda.
I've never called people by their initials. Like, hello,
I want to call her Abs.
TJ.
That's what I want to call
Hey,
her.
Abs.
Abs.
Abby, Babby, Bo Babby.
Manna, Fanna, Folk, Manny.
Yeah, something like that.
I was trying to teach my kids that, and neither of them were impressed. They were just both like,
They're like, I don't care for
you
this.
have done cooler things, so.
That's a move.
I know,
You have
right?
done cooler things.
I mean, on the plus side, like, I have done cooler things, but, like, on the downside, my kids are already very critical of me.
Aren't all children very
Oh, yeah.
critical of their
I
parents?
think so. It would make me really weirded out if they weren't. I mean, gathered I'd love it, but, you know.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So, earlier today, you had, like, a last chapter to write. How did that go? Are you still stuck?
Oh, yeah. My coping mechanism for having a hard time writing the last
Mhm.
chapter is to bitch about it on Twitter every 500 words. So I really look forward to getting through 500 words. Problem is I had a few thousand words to get through.
Well, because we both agreed that we're going to start doing a choose your own ending instead of...
Oh yeah, I love
Yeah,
it.
so you just end
And
halfway
write
through
your
a
own
sentence.
ending.
And
I'm just gonna stop here, reader, and you can
follow
figure it
your
out.
way home, okay?
I'll put some blank pages in for you. You can jot some notes
I
down.
more or less gave you a compass and a map. Now you find it. Like,
Yeah, like pull your weight.
pull your weight. I am also just trapped in my own mind. In the last quarter of the edits for Just Fake Married, and
Oh, yeah?
yeah, oh my gosh, because I did like a huge overhaul of like the emotional arc that they go through, and it makes a lot more sense.
You have been talking about it.
Yeah, but like now it's just so much more like fettered than like fully inksy, you know what I mean? And emotional drama is like where I am at my most comfortable, right? So to like have them like skating in this numb place is hard.
Yeah, I can. Well, you mean during the like, oh, what is it? The Dark Knight or whatever?
Exactly.
I feel like that's the prime point for angst. You know? That's when you turn it up to 11.
When I read it to you, you were like, I think you need to dial it back. So,
oh, did
you
I say
did.
that? Don't trust anything I say.
I'm a fool. Yeah, I mean, I'm getting to the point where it's like, okay, I think the floodgates have to open.
Huh, I'm sorry. I'm like spacing.
I know, I floated right out too, so don't worry. We both like
Next 30
landed back
minutes
into our
will be
manuscripts, didn't we?
Just be a nice pensive 30 minutes of silence, listener. And if you're not on the same wavelength, then you can't read our minds, and that's on you.
That's on you. That's on you. You know, I think we all just could really take a break and reflect. I think we could all find a nice reflection moment in the next 30 minutes. So let's have a 30-minute beat. The listener thought we were going to keep going.
I was having a fun little breakdown because I tried to I was rewriting the summary of the plot of Handle with Claire.
Mm-hmm.
And see, the thing is, a lot of that book is just so close to my heart.
Yeah.
And because I wrote so much of it from my id.
Yeah.
So a lot of it is like, no, you can't touch that. And you can't criticize it. Like, I think there's a lot of stuff in it that I kind of just put in. There is also a lot of stuff in it that I just put in there to make the things connect. You know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I wanted to keep this scene, so I put some things, I patched it together with duct tape, and now I'm like reading it, and certain parts of it make me cringe, and I'm like, ugh. And so, like, I think one of the things I was having trouble with when I was writing the query letter was talking about the parts that make me cringe. Mm-hmm. Like, I have to be honest that these are things that are in my book. Mm-hmm. And they're there, and I don't feel great about them, but I was like, like when I was writing the manuscript, I was like, I just need to get this done. Mm-hmm. And it's okay for it to be full of mistakes because it's my first book, and I'm going easy on myself.
Good for you. That was the right mentality, though.
That was, but it all came back to bite me. Because now I'm just looking at all this stuff, and like, it's that expired food in my fridge feeling. It's like, if I just don't open the fresh vegetable drawer that isn't so fresh anymore. That you put, it's where your veggies go to die. Like, if I put carrots in there, I'm not seeing them again.
You gotta put them front and center.
It has to be on the butter dish shelf, or I don't know it exists. And that's just because the butter dish shelf is right at my eye line, and it no longer has like that thing that holds the stuff in the door. It just slips right off the shelf when you open my fridge door now. So you do have to catch it. This is the only reason.
Like to make opening the door an adventure.
100% that's what's going on with my freezer door too. Because the ice maker no longer works. This fridge is 20 years old, guys. And we have a lot of feelings about it.
We have a lot of, like, it's a part of the family?
It's a part of the family. I just had this conversation with my mom about, like, the washing machine because it died last week. Yeah. And she's like, but we can't replace it. I can fix it. And we're like, Mom, please just tow it out.
You said that she's replaced it like 4 times, or she's fixed it like 4 times at this point.
Yes.
It's time. It's time, Chris.
It is time, but I don't know. We're against throwing things out.
I mean,
as you can see.
Okay. In this household, same. Like, multiple cars of ours have come from the junkyard, and like grave diggers. So,
God, I love it.
Yeah, no, I mean, just anything we can do to not throw something out. Yes, absolutely, totally on board. But if you have fixed the washing machine 4 times, like, it's time. It's time. It's time to be done.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I was gonna go somewhere with this. What was I talking about?
The fridge and the rotten food.
Oh, I was telling you about the freezer because we stacked 2 tubs of ice cream on this little shelf that used to be the thing that connects the ice maker to the ice funnel. Yeah. But so they're both really heavy, and there's nowhere else in the freezer to put it because we're losing shelves. God, this freezer is falling apart. Like, I could not. If I went on to list everything that's wrong with it. Yeah, no.
That's hilarious.
The water, you can't get water out of this fridge because it's nasty and rotten. Like, the pipe is rotten. Yeah. So we just don't. We put a piece of tape over it. Get water from the sink, you nerd. The ice maker, we had to stop using that, and we make our own ice now. God, I'm painting such a picture. And it's completely the opposite of what my mom's kitchen is like. It's just this fridge.
Yeah, she does seem to keep, like, a tight ship in her house, sort of thing. So it's really surprising to me that she has, like, appliances that aren't working great.
Well, to get into my mom's psychology, she's really against buying large appliances. She wants to do that once and never again.
Well, I mean...
Which is like...
Follow your heart. You do you.
Oh, don't follow that heart.
Get a new heart.
That's a bad heart. Like, sometimes you gotta.
I have actually been thinking about this a lot as far as, like, process. Did you finish your thought, Kate, about Handle of Claire?
Yeah. So what I was having a little breakdown about it, and I was telling myself, just be honest about what each chapter includes. Don't leave anything out. And, you know, you can work through the cringe. Mm-hmm. And it's not like there's anything bad in it. It's just it's cringe, you know?
Well,
it's
and
like,
we are so hyper critical of ourselves, right? So, like, when I think about, like, what's in Handle with Claire, I don't have a cringe.
Yeah, I know. You would probably look at it and go, like, no, this is a fine book. What are you talking about? And I'm like,
that book.
And I'm like, this chapter I have disowned.
That makes me sad. I, like, want to hug it. Like, your mom does love you. Mm-hmm. She's just confused right now.
No, you can have it.
I will take it. So don't tempt me. Just erase the serial numbers. I'm not going to steal your work, I promise.
20 years later.
I will not steal your work.
Engaged in a deep, long legal battle.
Oh my god, that's so depressing. I would hate that scenario. Like, that's such a sad scenario for you and I to be in a battle like that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, big heart. Remember that?
Okay, rewind.
Yeah, remember that tweet?
Let's not go down that path.
That tweet you shared of, like, I don't want to listen to two best friends having a conversation on podcasts. I want them to hate each other. And you're like, it's us. Apparently, you were just foretelling the future.
I thought you would get a laugh.
I did. I got a good giggle.
I didn't think you would take it personally.
I didn't take it personally. No. We have a good bicker.
Okay, good.
Sometimes you gotta bicker.
I don't think we actually bicker.
No.
I think we just banter.
Because we're cute AF.
Oh, like, I'm still haunted by that really mean thing. I can't remember what it was, but I remember I said something to be funny, and it turned out really mean, and you said, ha, that's mean, and I was like, oh god, I've hurt her.
Oh god, I don't even remember.
I mean, me either, but, like,
you can let it go.
Like, the fact that it happened.
You can let it go. I don't carry it. I have no memory of it.
And then it's probably going to show up in the next episode that I edit.
And I'm like, oh, that's right, that was me. I'm joking. I don't
that remember. Was me. We're not friends anymore.
We're friends. You can't lose me that easily.
Oh, okay. I just got to be meaner then.
Yeah, I'll just walk the entire coastline of New Jersey like, do you know Kate? I have to find her.
A little bit.
We need to make amends. I'm a really good walker.
Well, I mean, you'd only have, like, the first third of New Jersey to go through.
Yeah.
If you're doing coastline.
Yeah.
Before you get on my longitude or latitude or whatever.
I'd find you. In a not creepy way. I like that you said aw to that. I'll find you.
Well, I was thinking, oh, that's such a high romance line, and you were like, it's creepy. Don't think that's nice.
High romance.
Okay, the thought
I
was finishing.
Oh, good lord.
I don't know.
This is going to be a ride. We're 15 minutes in.
Oh, man.
This is going to be a ride.
We are.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to cut so much
out.
out.
Yeah. We have not been that funny. But okay, finish your thought. Because, like, at this point,
What was my thought? It was
something about the vegetable drawer.
Fridge?
Bring back to the vegetable drawer.
Okay, yeah, no. Well, so I was pulling all the thing. I got to a point where my threshold was just, like, it was emotionally exhausting to me to write this outline. And I was going back into it, like, you can do just one more chapter. Mm-hmm. But, like, I don't know. It was just, like, physically draining me to put, like, just type these words out and be like, acknowledge that this happens in the chapter. And then I was just like, you know what? I need to scrap this. But there's so much I love in this manuscript, mostly towards the beginning.
You know, that's the way I feel. I mean, but, like, endings are just so hard.
You know, endings are so hard. And I think when I wrote the ending the first time around, I wasn't super enthusiastic. Like, I was like, it's done and that's what I'm happy about. Mm-hmm. But I was very reluctant to go back and really change anything in the ending. But anyway, so I rewrote an outline, redoing the entire plot, changing the genre kind of, and keeping the characters, but changing a little bit about them.
Which I'm very...
That's the whole
I
thought.
do really like the changes you're making.
And the thing is, because I love this story so much, I am enthusiastic to rewrite it.
That's exciting.
Yeah, like, I enjoyed writing these guys so much, and...
I love their chemistry.
Yeah, no, they had such great chemistry, and I want to dial it up. I want Claire to be a little meaner than she was before.
I like
which
that.
is like she was already pretty mean.
Yeah, but like I like a prickly female lead a lot. Like,
I know. And the thing is, Matt can take it. And
Matt can
because
take it.
I think what I'm doing is I don't think I'm gonna include that he had a crush on her years ago.
Okay.
And I think that's gonna open up, it won't crush him if she says something really mean to him. He'll just be like, okay.
Yeah, like, because in Banded Together, I'm making the reason why Cece is mean just makes so much more sense, and have Miles relate to it more than he did in the first draft. Because I don't want to make her less mean. I don't want to. I just want to justify it. You know? Like,
it's weird because it's like people, I don't know, actually I don't want to dive into our culture's relationship with mean female characters, but how much fun they are to write.
Well, and I think that I'm excited to see more female eye taking on that trope, right? Because we have like the Taming of the Shrew. You know what I mean? Like, that's essentially like, anytime that trope comes up, that's essentially the story that gets told, right?
Okay.
And so I'm really excited to see more female, like, grumpy female, like, women. I hate saying female. It sounds so clinical. Yeah. But, like, grumpy female leads being written by women, you know? And like, seeing how that subverts that trope.
Well, the thing is, like, 10 Things I Hate About You, right?
Yes.
That is Taming of the Shrew.
Yeah. But, like...
Yeah.
Yeah. I do love that one.
And I really loved that character.
I did, too.
I mean, I loved the actress. I think she did a wonderful job with the character.
Julia Stiles.
Mm-hmm. She was really cast right for that.
She was. She absolutely was.
Who's messaging me? My boss is messaging me late at night.
No.
Get away.
I would be alone now.
Yeah, like, you get off your computer. Enjoy your dinner. Okay, sorry. We're so far off the track.
Okay, let's get onto the topic.
Because
I do really like what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, if we ever get there.
Yeah, I mean, it's big if at this point.
Okay, so I might just cut out the first 20 minutes and let us start over.
Do you want to just do the intro again?
No, I've already said the intro. I will just cut right to it. Cut all of it out, maybe. Okay, so when you talk about your process of writing, so I think you said something in A.B. Wilson's episode that while I had not really considered it part of my process, I realized you were 100% right.
Oh, I'm excited. Okay.
And I felt very called out about it.
Well, I'm sorry to have called you out. You're right. I'm so sorry to have called you out, but I feel very insightful.
You are. Stab me in the throat.
Oh God, what'd I do?
You said you come up with a title and then you write the entire story, and I was like, oh God, I do that.
Yeah, you've told me you do that.
I did. I don't.
Because I've asked you, like, how do you come up with your titles? And you're like, oh, I come up with them first, and then I write a story. I'm not even insightful. You've told me that.
Okay, I have no memory of.
I have no memory of my life. Okay,
I have no memory of anything. You could convince me a lot of things.
You're right. In fact, I come up with your titles, and then you write the books.
Wow.
I know. It's a unique process you have here. But so how do you come up with your titles?
Really bad puns. Like, what?
That is so cute.
All I do is like say, ooh, that sounds like this. Haha, look at, like, this is a phrase. Oh, that's a title. That's a story.
That's a story. Well, because I've been thinking about this too, because like just thinking about like how do you describe to somebody where to start writing if they've like never written, if they have written but like have never written long form before, like how do you discuss this, you know what I mean? So you go ahead and tell me your process and then I'll try to explain mine.
Oof.
I know, because mine I can go first if you'd prefer.
Yeah, no, I think you should go first.
Okay, well, listener, think of something really gooey and like without a form.
Oh.
Okay? It doesn't make any sense. It just kind of has a feeling, right?
Do you know we're talking about writing and not like slime?
Yeah, but like essentially that's it. Is it's slime? It's just kind of like it's like something that like doesn't exist. You're not actually holding anything. You're just imagining it, listener. Kate, you're just imagining it.
Gooey or nebulous? Like
nebulous.
Like,
yeah, like
gooey
nebulous.
has such a texture to it. You want some goo, listener? Get yourself some Elmer's glue. And mix a little cornstarch. Like that's the road you were leading me down, and I was like,
I mean, you're building something.
God, I did not think
nothing.
it would start here.
Like you are building something out of nothing in my brain. Like I might have like the semblance of like a scene, right? Like usually I have like a scene or a concept, and then I kind of work the like backwards from that. But like the scene I usually get is somewhere around like the end of the first act, or there's like an energy or something along those lines. Like Just Fake Married initially was supposed to be two friends that were like so tight for like 5 years that like she has a family event. Owen comes along. He has a wedding to go to. Emmeline acts as his date. But, like, they don't tell anyone they're dating, but everyone they know assumes they are. So, essentially, when people start saying, like, so when are you going to get married? They're like, what are you talking about? Right? So, like, that's where it started. And then, as I was working through that, you guys, like, the Smut Coven was like, okay, well, here are the holes in that idea. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe they're gonna actually fake date. And then it was like, well, but there's no stakes. And I was like, well, what if they pretend to be engaged? And you were like, well, what if they pretend to be married? And like then I started like, okay, let's launch, right? So at that point I had the first, what I thought was the first quarter written, and I just kept on going back and rewriting that quarter, which is typically what I do. So I just keep on going back and rewriting that quarter until it's like, okay, now we've got plot. Now we've got stakes. Continue on.
Okay.
Right?
I kind of vibe with that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, I do feel like my vague ideas start out from like, oh, okay, so I'm gonna talk a little bit about a project that doesn't have a name, and
oh God, how are you even starting it?
I know. Oh, I have like
you have more than one process.
Really started.
Yeah, I understand.
I have the process varies sometimes. When I drive home from my boyfriend's, you know, in the middle of the night. So because I have work tomorrow. So I like, you know, it's like, it's pretty dark. There's nothing to look at. You just got you and the road and the lights.
I love thinking at night while driving. That is one of my favorite things.
Oh, driving is such a good thinking time. Like I used to drive. Night. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if the drive is very uncomplicated. Like you know the exit you have to get off on, but you don't have to do this you can just go straight for like
driving
45 minutes.
Like I'm particularly thinking of driving from my best friend's house in high school to like my dad's house, and it was a lot of dirt roads. Okay. And I'd even like take the long way around. And so yeah, I mean, I'm paying attention for deer because, you know, it's Michigan.
You got it. But like your brain's gonna wander a little.
Absolutely. And it's like a perfect, like, yeah, music off or way down, and you just start thinking.
I have the music on.
I usually have, otherwise I start like singing, getting very distracted by it.
Oh. See, I can only sing if I know the words.
Oh, God, I know the words to everything, Kate. I am so annoying. Oh. I can hear a song once, and all of a sudden I can be halfway through the song, and I'm singing along.
Like, I do not have that ability.
Oh, man.
I get so, like, self-conscious, even alone, that I don't know the words, that I'm just like, you know, I'm just going to listen.
That is hilarious. Also, I will sing anything with so much confidence. No one even knows that I don't know the words. Like, these syllables, it's like I will hit the right syllable, but like it's not actually words I'm speaking. Yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
But like, so I've been driving at night a lot, and I have the radio on, and I was thinking about like two radio DJs that like they, you know, maybe they're straight out of college, so they have like the shittiest radio job possible, but like, you know. They're like DJs or hosts or something, and they hate each other, but they have the smallest studio ever, and they have to sit like knee to knee.
That is so
and
cute.
They're just kind of like dueling music back and forth. Like, I'm playing this song because I hate you.
I love that.
I'm playing this song because I know it gets on your nerves. just back and forth, like, but also like,
they have to know each other that well to know.
Oh, they have to know each other very well because they've been so fucking close and just simmering in this for a while.
I kind of want it to take place in the 90s.
Oh, see, I love writing. I love the 90s, and I love stories that take place in them. They have such a vibe. But I feel like it's almost like if I tried to write a book that took place in a different country, I would be like, I need to research so much about this so I can get everything right, because otherwise people will know I didn't actually grow up during this time.
Having that 10 years on you, I can tell you I could write something in the 90s.
I mean, yeah, you could.
I could do it.
I was a baby in the 90s.
You were.
I don't...
Yeah.
I did not have like any self-awareness or consciousness of what happened around
It's like
me.
if I were to try to write something in the 80s. But yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I don't know. So like it's just this it kind of, each song that I was listening to, like if I'm particularly vibing with it, it's like, oh, I'll write a scene that kind of matches this song. And like, even though I'm not really keeping track of like the particulars, eventually you have like enough vibes together that you're like, okay, I could grow a story out of these elements. Yeah. And so like that's like an organic kind of starting. And I think sometimes that's just how ideas happen. And because I remember for a while once I had finished Handle with Claire, I was really struggling to start a new project. Yeah. That I really, really loved.
Yeah. I had the same thing with Banded Together too.
Yeah, because like you want something that you're as committed to. Yeah. But, like, you can't be that committed to it yet because you don't know it.
Well, and, like, I think there also has to be, at least my brain had to have a time of rest before I started thinking of something new.
Yeah, changing gears is a slower process, I think, than a lot of people want to admit that it is.
It sucks. Yeah, because you just want to, like, launch right in. Because, like,
you do.
Writing is still the thing I do for me. And so I don't want to not be writing. It's what I want to be doing. But, like...
Yeah, because it's fun. It entertains you to do it.
And it is challenging. Like, right now, I'm really stuck in my edits, but, like, I'd rather be thinking about this than not. I will say I have been going through a lot of input and just doing a lot of listening to, like, other podcasts and not really letting my head rest as much as I probably should. I just really want people to talk to me right now. Right?
I've been doing like the exact opposite.
Oh, really?
Because, well, so like I've been listening to a podcast that I've listened to maybe 2 times before, like all 500 episodes. In a way, like it's a medium that it doesn't really inspire much from me, but it's entertaining enough that like it passes time. I keep thinking, wow, I wish I was reading a romance novel right now, but I'm like, if I read something, then I'll get a new idea, and then I can't, and then I will.
I cannot be inspired
right now. Yeah, it's very much that. But like also feeling like parched for it and pushing myself to continue creating. I don't know. I need to like give myself a break and read something, which I'm gonna do tomorrow.
Good for you. You should. I am almost done with the third in the Loveless Brothers series by Roxy Noir.
I know, you keep telling me about it.
It's so good.
Like, oh.
It's so good. I'm coming up to the point in that book where I'm stuck in the edits in my book, and like I really want to keep on reading it, but I have to actually do my work, you know? Like I'm in a time crunch, so I have to do it. So yeah, I don't know exactly what to do, you know? But anyway.
Yeah. Okay, so the part of the process after you have your vibes.
My vibes. The next part of the process is pushing out my first draft. And my first draft...
pushing out.
Yeah.
It's such a visceral...
Yeah, I know. I give labor.
Yeah.
So my first drafts are always very messy. Like, I will have notes throughout the whole thing that's like, hey, make sure this happens better. Finish this scene. I might have entire chapters waiting to be written, and it is a breakneck pace, right? Like my first drafts, there's no room for breath. So then I like to let it rest for at least a couple weeks, and then I will go through and do an edit, as good an edit as I can do without input. Because I won't send that draft off to betas, because that's cruel and unusual behavior. So I do my edit, and typically I add a lot of words at that point because there'll be chapters I didn't realize I needed to write, and it does get a good extension during that first round of edits, and I send it off to betas, and then I get input, and then I try to implement that input, and my book will always grow at that point. I'm surprised actually right now how much my book is sitting around the same word count as it has for
Are you
a while.
doing a lot of cutting?
I did get rid of part of those words are going to come back in, but I did cut an entire chapter.
Okay.
And
yeah, that'll do it.
some of those words are going to come back in.
Yeah, no, they're definitely in a put these back in pile.
Yeah, exactly. Oh gosh. And I've been thinking about because when I cut a paragraph even, I will copy and paste it and put it into their character files, right? So there's been times, particularly in this rewrite, where I had already written something that had to go back in, but I had cut it from 2 drafts ago, but I had already written it, so I just copied and pasted it and put it back. And
that's my favorite thing
to do.
I
love when
it's so easy.
It's so nice. It's so nice.
Is here's my shortcut, which is not actually a shortcut.
No, I've done the work, but at least I don't have to do the work twice, Yeah. So that gets me up to the draft for developmental editing and stuff like that, depending on who my betas are, sort of thing. Okay, so you, in describing, you're still very vibey, how does your first draft go?
Well, so I think I do a little bit of pantsing and plotting.
Mm-hmm.
I think you talked about you're more of a pantser. You do a lot of discovery writing in your first draft. I do try to plot a vague direction to go in. I think I try to gather a lot. You were talking about, you start with one scene. Or maybe you didn't put a number on it.
And it's a scene that exists in my head, and now I'm working back to where's the starting point for them.
I feel like I have to have a number of scenes. I feel like they're less plot point scenes, and they're usually more of those 3 first dates kind of scenes.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does. But
I feel like those are my favorite parts of the book, so I start with those.
I think my favorite part of the book is before they get together and their chemistry building.
Yeah.
I love that.
I enjoy that a lot. I enjoy writing that.
Yeah. In Just Fake Married, the scene that was in my head never made it. It never fit into the plot. But
that sucks.
I'm fine with it. I like everything that I have. You know what I mean?
Oh, because everything transforms so much it no longer fits.
Yeah, exactly. And so I was thinking about the original concept, and I was there might still be room for that somewhere in my catalog. You know what I mean? There might still be maybe I'll have a plot that intensifies that original concept enough to actually put it into action.
I feel like we've talked about this a little before. I like to have a very polished first draft. Yeah. I feel like I have to have filled in any plot holes I know are existing, and I think everything that's gonna be in the final version of the book pretty much needs to be in the first draft. And I know you're
I am
no, that's not how a first draft works. Yeah. No, we were actually having this conversation this morning, and I think not morning, but today, and I was are we getting into a fight? Because you were because I was I'm agonizing over this last 1,000 words I have to write for the ending, and you were okay, just skip it, and I'm then there will be no ending.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you don't have an ending.
And you were well, then you come back to it in the edits, and I'm no, that's just writing it. And that's just putting off writing it.
Okay, and to defend your point, I never like my endings, so
well, and then so you were talking about the ways that if you wrote the ending and you didn't like it, it would be already baked into the premise.
No.
And I'm no, those are your exact words.
No, we were having 2 different conversations. Because I was talking about something
on
else.
Different pages?
Yeah, we were totally on different pages. Because, I was talking about how, these developmental edits that I'm working through, I really want to get input on it before I send it off to, the copy editor.
Okay.
Because now, if there's something still wrong with the developmental edits and the, story as a whole, that wrongness will be baked into the story. You know what I mean? Like,
okay.
Yeah.
So you're talking about like story and plot and character.
Yeah, so we were talking about two different things. And now that I know what you were talking about, I can see why you thought we might be having a fight. Meanwhile, I'm completely oblivious. So
I was like having a moment like if I explained to her that it doesn't like this is just not how writing works, and I did. Marty, your process is terrible. I hate it.
Well, and like I obviously like you and everyone has to find their own path. I will say, like I said, I usually don't like my endings. But, like, I was in the same place that you are in right now, Just Fake Married, where I was like, I just have to write the next two paragraphs. Like, the next two paragraphs should not exist. They are like a synopsis of what the actual chapter should be. But I just need to get the end on the page. Like, I just need to be done with this, right? And so essentially that's what I did. And what I really, like, looking back, I was really forcing getting that ending written because I knew it wasn't right and I knew it was a placeholder, but I didn't feel like I could just step away from the draft without some ending. But, like, looking back on it, it was definitely like all of that got deleted, And now, again, I still didn't know what my ending would look like. I just had to leave it as it was. And now I feel like I have a good idea what the ending is going to look like. And I just have to, like, cut my way through the wilderness to get to it. And I'm tired.
Yeah.
I just want to move on to the next set of characters so badly.
Oh, God, I know. And then you're going to be, like, trying to, like, create the characters and be like, I miss my old guys.
Right now, I love them. But I cannot wait to not talk to them again. I cannot wait.
Oh, I know. I felt that way about Handle with Claire for, I think, at least a year after I wrote it. And I was just like, I don't want to look at you guys again.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, God, I remember how much I love you too.
God, they're so great. And that's the thing is, like, when I am actually, like, reading through Just Fake Married and, like, in their, like, emotions and the banter and, like, all of that, I'm, like, very into it. If I could just read it, I would enjoy it. But, like, that's not the stage of the game I'm in.
Yeah. Okay. I remember my thought that I forgot earlier. I do try to estimate how long I want the book to be. Like ballpark. I think it's either going to be this is a less than 10,000 words kind of story, or this is a 25 to 30,000 word story, or this is a 70 to 80,000 word. You know? I think those are the ranges I typically write in. So then that just kind of gives me this expectation for how many words I have for each beat. Because I do try to plot out the beats. Okay. A vague idea of them. I jot down a couple notes.
Wow. This is definitely more planning than I do.
Well, like, I try to think, like, a couple beats ahead. I don't necessarily have all of them, because rarely do I get to the last quarter of the Romancing the Beats. But so, like, if I have 70, if it's an 80,000 word story, then I'm gonna say, like, maybe I have 20, 25 chapters.
Okay.
So each chapter gets to be 4,000 to 5,000 words, about maybe 3 if I'm having a hard time adding to the chapter.
And how long are your chapters?
Usually so Handle with Claire, the chapters are 4,000 words on average.
Mine are like mine tend to be somewhere around 2,500.
I have been writing shorter chapters lately, I think, in pretty much everything else I've been doing, but I don't think I've taken on a project this size. No, that's a lie. I have been working on
Night
and Shade does have, well, so the chapters, it's probably gonna be finish at 100,000 words.
Okay. But that's fantasy, and so, like, that really
there's more world building.
Yeah.
But the chapters themselves have all been 2,000 words-ish, 2,000 to 3,000.
Yeah, I tend to sit somewhere around 2,500. I am okay with a chapter being 1,500 if it has to be, but I really don't want it to be less than that, because I do like chapters to feel about the same size, right?
Yeah.
And
I know they don't need to be, but like I get weird about it if mine aren't.
Yeah. I really do like them to feel like about the same size. Now, gathered, I would rather a chapter be short or a chapter be long. Like, if a chapter's short, I would rather that than stuffing it with unnecessary words just to make it feel the same size as everything else, right? Because that's like, it's going to bog down the story. And I would rather a chapter be too long if that's how much it takes to write.
I feel like if I get to a point where like this is, you know, maybe 500 words under what I would like it to be, I do go ahead and kind of glance over what happens in the chapter, and I go, is there anything I can maybe add a little more depth to? Is there something that like I missed? Because I feel like I do is when I write a chapter, I disregard like the first draft. There's a lot of like, oh, I didn't even think about talking about how she got from this room to that room. Or like even if it's a sentence long explanation, she left the drawing room to go to the ballroom, whatever. I don't think about that kind of thing. And like I think I recently wrote, like I was going over a chapter and they just had sex and they're like laying in bed, and I did not write him getting into bed at any point. He's just kind of been kneeling outside of it the whole time of it. I'm like, so how is she hugging him? When did he get into bed?
The continuity.
You know, it was like,
absolutely.
Yeah, and it's like, I gotta write people connecting things. I feel like I do, like, because I'm writing on different days, sometimes I don't pick up mentally where I was when I ended. So I don't.
I'm running into that right now with, like, making such big changes. I'm like, I keep on, every time I sit down, I feel like I have to reread the last, like, 2 chapters I've edited just to know where I'm at emotionally to keep on going in these edits.
Sometimes, like, when there's a scene that I'm excited about, I've just written down the stuff that I'm excited about. And I haven't really gotten to just, you know, like, some details that, like, are clarifying. And, you know, it's, maybe they aren't, you know, the most exciting of details, but they illustrate where they are. Yeah. Maybe they help flesh out the tone a little, or they convey things that I thought I was saying and I just skipped over. Yeah. I feel like that happens a lot. That's like a breakdown that's really common in any kind of communication that takes a lot of work to realize, oh, I didn't say that thing I needed to say.
Well, and I think that's just so much of, like, writing from your own head.
Oh, yeah. Right? Because you're so in your own head.
Well, because, like, one of my betas really didn't like Owen, and I was like, oh, I can see why she wouldn't. But, like, from my perspective, like, he just read differently, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, in going through and doing the edits, I was like, okay, well, these are the ways to make him work for more people than just me, right?
Yeah, to say the things that you weren't.
Yeah.
You thought went unsaid.
Or the humor that I thought landed and didn't, you know? Not that he was, like, being snotty or anything. It was just, like, there were certain, like, mannerisms that just weren't coming across the right way. And so I was like, okay, well, let's fix it, you know? But it was just something I couldn't have seen without her pointing it out.
Yeah, I do feel that. I wish I had someone who could see those things, like, just at my side. Be like, God, I'm looking in, like, I can see the back of your head for you.
The amount I, like, keep on resisting sending you chapters and being like, Kate, just tell me it's okay right now. Like, just tell me it's okay. Hold my hand and tell me it's gonna be all right.
Validate my perception of reality.
Please help me. Dude, it's like that validation TikTok. That validation hotline TikTok I sent. Did you see that one?
Oh, God. If you sent it through TikTok, I have not checked my TikToks
I noticed.
in 3 months.
I will say I noticed that, Kate. No, I put it on the chat.
Because I stopped replying lol to all of them.
Yes. Well, when you go back, you got quite the treasure trove.
I do.
Yep.
I used to, like, sit down and chilling with my boyfriend, and I'd be like, look, Anna sent me some TikToks. Marty sent me some TikToks. Yeah. Look at them. And then we'd sit there for an hour, and he'd be like, they send you too many. Like, when does it end?
Austin, maybe you don't send enough. Okay. Maybe that's...
He doesn't send me any.
Well, then we have our answer.
Oh, do we need to make him make a TikTok account?
Oh, please. Please do.
I can assure you it would be like all just the...
Andrew's TikTok and my TikTok do not vibe. Like, well, okay, that's not even true.
Oh, no.
They do. But, like, I'm like, why are there so many cars? There's just people talking about cars for 60 seconds over and over and over and over. And that's his TikTok.
I sent a TikTok where it was like a bunch of guys in an automotive shop. It was like a compilation of them. And I sent it to my ex because, like, we're still friends and we talk. And he was like, oh, I know those guys. And I'm like, but they're on the internet.
But they're on the internet.
He's like, no, their shop is like 3 miles from mine. And I'm like, that's not real. They're not real.
Nothing's real. You're just having an existential crisis over here.
I was like, that can't be.
Well, it's like when last night there was a sound. I wish I could remember the sound, but it happened on his TikTok. And it was a car, right? And he's like, what would that sound be like on your TikTok? And I follow a lot of romance writers who like do reactions to thirst traps and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, it would be filthy for sure. Like 100%. That's a filthy sound. So do we want to go back to actually talking about our process?
Yeah. Just a little.
Okay.
So like that's the first draft process. That was a lot quicker than I thought it would.
Actually doing it takes so much more time than talking about it. Yeah,
actually doing it does take a lot of time.
Well, and I think being flexible is really important because, like, in just writing Just Fake Married, that first draft, not knowing the ending was pretty challenging. You know, that's a hard one. I got to the point of, like, the breakup, and then I was like, what do we do from here? Like, what happens next? What's the grand gesture? Like, I know nothing about the rest of this. And I just kind of kept on going. In Banded Together, I got about halfway through. And this was before I knew as much about, like, you know, plot and story structure as I do now. But, you know, things are as they are. And I just kind of was stuck. I didn't know where to go or what to do. So I started writing what I thought the ending would be. And it unlocked something. And I was able to go back and write from where I had left off. And then that ending ended up not being it at all. But it did unlock it, though. You know? And I think that, like, being flexible can be really helpful.
I think the more writing you do and the more
it's definitely
projects you get through, you definitely, I think, learn to not be so married to your ideas.
Absolutely. I used to think that, like, I would do a great first draft so I wouldn't have to do a lot of editing. And now, like, it's so clear that my process relies so heavily on editing. Well, and then also, like, having a couple short stories that I'm extending to, like, novella size. Having done more writing, I know I'm capable of extending those. I know I'm capable of finding more story to put in there.
I always feel like that sounds like a really hard thing to me, to, like, take a novella and make it bigger, because to me, when I start with an idea, it's like, this is the size of that idea.
I think that might be the difference in, like, how we, like, approach writing in general, because most of my first drafts are small, right? Like, Just Fake Married was like 40 to 41,000 words in that first draft. And then I did that first round of edits on it, and it ended up being like 48 to 49,000 words. And right now it's sitting solidly at 55. I want it to be between 55 and 65. So, like, I'm definitely going to be there. And I think that's also, like, a difference in how we pace our stories too. Like, I think my stories tend to have less room for breath And I think that you give a rest.
Yeah, no, I was just doing that. Like, I was writing a chapter and I'm like, all right, we had some drama. Now we're gonna have a breath. And now we're gonna have some more drama. Now she's gonna take a breath. And then we're gonna have some drawn out thinking.
Well, I will say that I do feel like my stories, but they're written in first person. And they're very, Mika called them like confessional or something like that. Like that was kind of my voice.
Okay.
They're very like stream of consciousness. So there is a lot of thought in my stories. I think there's quite a bit of dialogue too, but yeah, I just feel like I am just like constantly like plot, 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 plot. You know what I mean? Like there's no slowing it down in my brain. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and so it's so funny because like that's not funny, but like I feel like something. So one of our like disconnects,
mm-hmm.
I think, because like a lot of the time you'll be like, I'm writing this so angsty, and I'll be like, more angst, and so like sometimes you say that like your books are so plot,
mm-hmm.
and then I'm like, the things that I think really, when I look at something and I say that there is plot, and is different from what I think when you look at something and you identify it as this is plot.
That's interesting.
But I think that's possible because plot is kind of a vague concept.
That's the truth right there.
Yeah. I think also because like when I think plot, I think outside world action.
Oh.
Like I don't really think in terms of internal plot a lot. I consider internal plot to just be emotional arcs, which like that sounds like such a pretentious way of thinking about it. I feel like
I don't think that sounds pretentious. I should probably get closer to my microphone.
I'm saying that's a shortcoming of mine, is that I don't really think in terms of internal plot, and I think that is something where I kind of struggle with emotional arcs and internal plot. But like when you're talking about your plot, it's all very internal stuff, and it's very much like you're like, there's so much happening here, and I'm like, but they're sitting at the kitchen table, and they've been sitting at the kitchen table.
Yeah, there's so much tension, and they're like being pushed so much. That is so interesting.
Yeah, but like, so it's a weird little quirk, I think, that like in our disconnect, like the way I don't think any thoughts can be perfectly conveyed, and so when we talk, that's what kind of slips through the cracks. In when I try to be like, but there's not enough plot, and you're like, but there's so much here, and I'm like, yeah, but you could have more. And I don't know, I'm like having this revelation as I'm like, this is what's wrong with when I critique your stuff.
But I love your critiques though, because I feel like you really add a lot more like stakes to the story. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
So I really value your criticism, but I can see what you're saying is like, for one thing, I tend to write, everything is super internal. And that makes it sound like it's dry, but I don't think it is.
No, it's not dry. I think that's just where all the action is, because they're thinking about how everyone said, like, you said that in such a standoffish way. Mm-hmm. Did I offend you? Kind of, you know, that's what they're thinking. And they're all very
reactive.
You know, reactive, yeah. God, I feel like I've gotten this comment a lot that, like, my characters don't express enough emotion. And to me, it's like, but they've been expressing as much emotion as I can possibly put into them. And then it's like, yeah, I guess I could say she felt this. Because to me, expressing emotion is like thinking about the thing, like agonizing over, what did I do wrong? You know? Or,
but that's,
you know, walking through what someone's anxiety is and the thinking about it.
But the thinking about it's one thing, it's the physical response.
Yeah, there are physical responses, and I don't write them very well.
I wouldn't say
that. I feel like I always forget to add them.
I don't feel like I've ever thought that like your characters are emotionally dry.
Yeah, it's a comment that I've gotten a couple of times that made me like, yeah, I guess I don't really think about how it outwardly looks.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. We're kind of going on a little bit of a tangent here.
Yeah, I mean, really.
And I did drive us down this road.
I don't know, do you want to add any, like, last minute thoughts and tie it up, or...
Our writing thoughts to live by?
Yeah.
Yeah, might as well. We've been doing this for an hour.
Yeah. Okay, so listener, remember that writing is an art form, and art is fluid, and sometimes you have to look at it from a different direction. Even though it might feel really goofy to not be doing something the way that you like to do something, or a process you have found you're comfortable within. But if you're stuck, there might be a reason, and maybe it's just going to take being a little uncomfy and doing something you don't want to do to break you out.
Sometimes, I have a few things I could say. I'm trying to pick one. Like, because I've been through the ringer this week, and I've learned
I hate
shit that I
hate those weeks where it's like, I don't want to learn anymore right now.
Oh, God. Yeah.
My brain's stuffed. Like, I have felt all the feelings, and I am all done.
No more.
No more.
Nothing more. Nothing else is allowed to happen.
Ugh. Sometimes you gotta let your process. You know, you gotta be processing the process.
Yeah. That's the advice.
That's the advice.
Make what you can of that. I would say that sometimes you want something to be done. Or, no, okay, actually, I'm just gonna go with, you can't edit nothing. You can't edit a blank page. Like, I know that's so cliche, but
I also
you really
disagree.
do have to put the words down.
I also disagree.
I'm gonna fight with you on this.
Because you and I both do so much thinking. We have our thoughts that we have already edited through before we actually put them down.
Yeah, but so sometimes I feel like if I just do a lot of thinking about something, it doesn't make it concrete enough to edit it. You know, I need to really put it down and make it part of the story. Otherwise, it's just a thought that I have that didn't get included. And that happens a lot. And sometimes, like, you need to put down, like you were talking about, you need to put down the wrong thought so you can fix it later.
With that. Like, sometimes you just have to accept, like, this is a placeholder, and that's okay.
I mean, you might not even think of it as a placeholder.
That's true, too.
But you need to put stuff down. I'm very much, you need to build your foundation without gaps.
I don't know. I feel like my foundations are so, like, essentially weak, and they just keep on getting stronger as I go.
Okay. I feel like that's relatable. Yeah. Every time I write something new, I feel better about the way I've built this.
Yes. And every new edit, regardless of, like, how draining it can be at a certain point, every new edit is an improvement on the story. And so, listener, you can find us.
So, listener, you can find us.
You can find me at martyv@martyv.com. So
that's not how it goes.
Yes, but
that's not your email address either.
It is, Kate. It is.
It's Marty V author. I email you twice a week.
I know you do, but I have 2 email addresses.
Oh.
Yes, because I have one through my website that has the martyv.com domain.
Wait, so you're martyv@martyv?
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain to you, but I don't like it. Get a new email address.
I will not, Kate. You cannot do everything. I am going to get an admin at martyv.com. But anyway. But yeah, so you can find me there. And you can talk to me. Or you can find Kate on Instagram and Twitter and pretty much everywhere at @byKatePryor. You can find...
Do not find me.
What?
Do not find me.
You can find her and just watch. Okay? Don't talk to her.
You can find me and stand back at a distance and wave. No.
You can watch. That's what you can do. That
sounds awful.
She is like a museum exhibit. You can experience
that.
Her
No.
existence.
That's just making me anxious.
Oh no. Okay, you can find me.
Do you know the Star Trek the first Star Trek pilot of the TOS?
No, I only ever watched the Next Generation.
Well, so it's the before the series actually started, this is the pilot. Okay. It was like, let's kidnap this captain and let's put him in this like human exhibit and put this other human in with him, and these guys with like huge brains are like, we're gonna treat you like animals at the zoo, and we're gonna watch you guys mate, and the guy keeps like fighting them, and yeah, no,
that sounds really terrifying.
I mean, that's pretty much a lot of sci-fi is like
a lot of sci-fi is like that. That reminds me of a Ray Bradley short story. Yeah, that one stuck with me. It was like in the Martian Chronicles or something like that.
See, when I grew up watching TOS, and my main takeaway was not that it was scary, it was that the writers are so fucking horny. Look at these creeps. They're trying to make these guys fuck.
That's so true.
Every episode of Star Trek is like that.
Do you remember the episode of Next Generation when there's something that like ends up making everybody super horny, and Picard like chomps his teeth at Beverly? I cannot handle that episode. It's funny as shit.
I'm screaming. I haven't seen that one, but that's such a visual. Oh my god,
it is the funniest crap. The funniest crap I've ever seen. I want to watch it with
That's
you.
That's what makes TNG a true spiritual successor to TOS, in my opinion.
It's all the horniness.
Is that the writers were still very space horny.
Yes. Yes. I love it. Okay, but listener, you can find me on TikTok and Twitter. No, on TikTok and Instagram at Marty V Author. And then on TikTok, I'm Author Marty V.
No, on Twitter. On Twitter, you're TikTok.
I don't know, guys. Just find us. We're obviously very tired. Rate, subscribe, follow your heart. You know, good luck in life.
Yeah, I did make a romance writers therapy Instagram because
that's right.
I figure we should post to that.
We should probably do that.
So if you want to follow it, there's no content on it yet.
Well, we can fix that like this week, you know?
Yeah, no, we could totally put stuff on it.
We could just put stuff on it. I'm gonna put my mustachio video on it.
Oh, I love it.
I'm gonna just like sprinkle that thing all over the internet.
What's his name? Burt Reynolds?
Yeah.
Very Burt Reynolds of you.
I'm thinking of Tom Selleck, but Burt Reynolds is...
Oh, no. Tom... They both have good mustaches.
They do. I'm going to do another one with to me it's a Uber accent, but yeah.
To you it is. No one else.
I know. The 3 people from Michigan that are listening are like, oh no, I get it.
Oh no, I get it. I do it too.
Oh yeah, I get it.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Listener, have a good night. When it was good talking to you.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna stop recording.
Stop me going.